Good morning everybody, I am Sridhar Reddy. Today my topic is valency bond theory. Valency bond theory is also called as the VBT. And important postulates of the VBT, if you observe, the valency bond theory, first it was given by the Hitler and London. Hitler and London. But later it is extended by the Pauling and Slater. Pauling and Slater, in order to explain the nature of the covalent bond. In order to explain the covalent bond, the phenomena which was given by the initially Hitler and London, later it is extended by the Pauling and the Slater to explain the covalent bond. According to this theory, the important phenomena, if you observe, a covalent bond takes place between the two atoms by the overlapping of the atomic orbitals, which will have the unpaired electron, and that unpaired electron must have the opposite spin. What is the phenomena he is saying? Covalent bond takes place due to the overlapping of the atomic orbitals. Atomic orbitals overlaps with each other, which contains the unpaired electron. It is a condition must be it must and should have the unpaired electron, and those electrons must have the opposite spin. Then they overlap with each other. During the overlapping, you will get the bond, covalent bond. That bond is called as the chemical bond. That chemical bond is called as the covalent bond. Ultimately, overlapping of the atomic orbital. The extent of the overlapping increases, bond strength increases. This is the overlapping easily breakable. This is the highly overlapping, that's why it is the strongest bond. Ultimately, overlapping increases, the extent of overlapping increases, bond strength also increases. The order of the orbitals overlapping, if you observe, PP orbital will have the greater orientation, greater overlapping than the SP and the SS. Nothing but whenever you are having the PP overlapping is takes place, that chemical bond, that covalent bond is a strong bond according to this one, because overlapping is taking place, extent of the overlapping increases, bond strength also increases. Number 4. A covalent bond that takes place when overlapping taking place through the internuclear axis. Overlapping taking place through the internuclear axis, then the covalent bond formed is called as the sigma bond. How the sigma bond is formed? Atomic orbitals overlaps with each other through the internuclear axis. Then the covalent bond, then the chemical bond which is obtained is called as the sigma bond. Number 5. Whenever lateral overlap, side overlapping is taking place, then the covalent bond taking place is called as the pi bond. Ultimately, sigma bond and the pi bond takes place. Sigma bond arises whenever the overlapping is taking place to the internuclear axis, then the chemical bond, covalent bond is called as the sigma bond. If the lateral overlap, the side overlap is taking place, then the chemical bond or covalent bond that is taking place is called as the pi bond. 6th one, sigma bond is the stronger bond than the pi bond. Among the sigma and the pi, sigma is a stronger bond. Sigma bond is a independent bond, whereas the pi bond is a dependent bond. Why it is called that the pi bond is called as the dependent bond? If you observe, the pi bond takes place after the formation of the sigma bond. Whenever you take the sigma bond, then only pi bond side overlapping can be available. Side overlap can be takes place. That's why sigma bond is an independent bond, whereas the pi bond is a dependent bond. And 8th, all the orbitals SPD, all the orbitals can form the sigma bond, whereas the p orbital and the d orbital only can forms the pi bond. Pi bond is takes place, or pi bond is due to the p orbital or d orbital involves, whereas the SPD, all the orbitals involves in the formation of the sigma bond arriving. Now, in a single bond you take, the single bond is treated as the sigma bond. Whenever you are getting any sigma bond, single bond is there, the single bond is treated as the sigma bond. Any atom which has the double bond, in the double bond consisting of the one sigma bond and the one pi bond, one sigma and the one pi. If you take the triple bond, then it is consisting of the one sigma bond plus two pi bond. So sigma bond, and this will be the pi bond. Ultimately, always covalent bond which will have the only single covalent bond which is taken as the sigma bond. Double bond is consisting of the one sigma bond and one pi bond. Triple bond is there, immediately it consisting of the one sigma bond and two pi bond. For example, we will take the oxygen, and oxygen molecule will have the two oxygen atom, and each oxygen atom atomic number is 8. Electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2px2, 2py1 and 2pz1. Here you take 2py and 2pz, it has the unpaired electron. Now I am taking the one oxygen atom and second oxygen atom. In the first oxygen atom, 2py orbital of the first oxygen atom overlaps with the 2py orbital of the second oxygen atom. Through the internuclear axis, ultimately you will get the sigma bond. And the sigma bond of present in the oxygen is due to the 2py orbital of the oxygen overlaps with the 2py orbital of the second oxygen atom. Through the internuclear axis, immediately a covalent bond takes place. That covalent bond is called as the sigma bond. And the 2pz orbital is there, it lies perpendicular to the plane. It lies perpendicular to the plane, and immediately its side overlaps with each other. Ultimately you will get the above below the electron cloud takes place. Ultimately it gives you the one bond. Ultimately I am taking one oxygen, second oxygen. This is the internuclear axis which gives you the sigma bond. Above and below will give you the one pi bond, which is due to the side overlapping with each other. Lateral overlapping taking place. Ultimately oxygen is held by the double bond. In the double bond, one is the sigma bond and one is the pi bond here having. Immediately I am taking the second best example I am taking, which is called the nitrogen molecule, N2 molecule. Atomic number of the nitrogen atom is 7. Valency electronic configuration or electronic configuration, if you observe, 1s2, 2s2, 2px1, 2py1, 2pz1. Now in this case, in the valency shell, we have the three unpaired electrons, x orbital, 2px, 2py, 2pz, 1 electron. Now each nitrogen, two nitrogen atom will have the same. I am taking the one nitrogen atom, second nitrogen atom. This 2px orbital of the one nitrogen atom overlaps with the 2px orbitals of the another nitrogen atom through the internuclear axis, and immediately it gives you the sigma bond takes place. Now each nitrogen has the 2py and 2pz orbital which lies perpendicular to the plane. So I am taking the 2py. This is the 2pz. Similarly 2py, 2pz. Immediately they side overlaps with each other. 2pz overlaps with the 2pz orbital, 2py overlaps with the 2py orbitals. Ultimately the first nitrogen here, this is the internuclear axis, sigma bond, and this is the one pi bond, and this is the second pi bond. Ultimately nitrogen is held by the triple bond, and in the nitrogen triple bond, one is the sigma bond and two are the pi bond. So this is the covalent bond which was given by the VBT. According to the VBT, they overlap with each other. The overlapping is extent of the overlapping increases, bond strength also increases. The order of the overlapping is given as the pp orbital will have the greater overlapping than the sp and the ss. Ultimately sigma bond and pi bond takes place. How the sigma bond takes place? Nothing but whenever the atomic orbital overlaps through the internuclear axis, they gives you the sigma bond. Side overlapping, lateral overlapping will give you the pi bond. Single bond always is taken as the sigma bond. Double bond is there, it is consisting of the combination of the sigma bond and the pi bond. Triple bond is the combination of the one sigma bond and the two pi bond. And the explanation of the formation of the double bond or multiple bonds, double bond and triple bond in the oxygen and the nitrogen molecule can be explained on the basis of the VBT.